Hello, everybody. Fingers crossed we have a good internet day. It looks like we're good so far, but we had drama last week. Just throwing this out there really quick. If this live stream suddenly ends like it did last week, check MeWe, or somebody will put a link in the comments of this one to the new one. That's what I had to do last week. We just made a new one really quick. But if that were to happen again, or if it ever happens in the future, check MeWe. I'll let you guys, somebody will post there, and then probably in our Facebook art group, I'll make somebody else who's brave enough to use that platform head over there and let you guys know. Speaking of that platform, just a quick, are you kidding me right now? Do I have it? I took a screenshot because I was like, Facebook, you are there's a reason. There are many reasons I don't use you, but this is a good one. Hold on. If I can figure out where I put it, it's kind of hilarious. Really, this is what you're going to suggest to me. Yeah, I can put this over on the screen. This has nothing to do with today's live stream. I just thought it was kind of funny. What? Why? I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. Let me pull all of this out. There we go. Can you see? It suggested that, because it'll suggest your art page, because I have to log in to let you guys know that the live stream is here, and it'll suggest your art page based on other things you liked, or your viewers or followers watch this or follow this other page. Maybe you'll like it too. Yeah, got one for based on pages you've interacted with. Now, mind you, I don't use Facebook other than letting you guys know when I'm live here or something on Patreon, because I hate that platform. 3% of people ever see my post there. Why keep using it? It's the stupidest. I hate that platform for many reasons, but that's the biggest one. It is horrible for our art business. Anyway, based on pages you've interacted with, you might like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Are you freaking kidding me? And what action have I ever, or what have I ever viewed on Facebook that makes you think either of these women are something that I'm going to listen to? I'm an old lady. That crap is not of interest to me. I am way aged out of that group. And it's just Facebook's supposed to know everything about us, and they're so bad about violating our privacy. They know I'm not interested in this, but you pay to play on Facebook. That's all paid at. Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious. It just shows you that platform is so terrible and so ridiculous. I got a laugh out of that because that is so far beyond anything I would ever I don't follow music groups. I don't anything on Facebook on my art account. It's Frederick's or Golden's airbrush or not airbrush, but just Golden's in general, or Liquitex. Those are the only things I follow on my Facebook page. So it's kind of funny. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. What? Anyway, I got a little bit of a laugh out of it. I thought that was hilarious. Just because it has it's so out of the blue. Where did that come from because it wasn't just, here's a suggestion for you, is based on your other actions. You mean not using your platform? That's pretty much my action on your platform at this point. But anyway, I thought that was hilarious. And so I wanted to share. Oh, let me see if I can fix this a little bit. The screen is doing some weird stuff over here. Let's move stuff out of the way. There we go. I think we are good. Okay, let's see. Karina said, hi all, I'm here for a short time. I got 2 postcards. Yay, February and May. So the others may be close. Love them. Yeah, you're missing some in between there. They should get to you. Yeah, I sent out a whole bunch of them from when did we, November through, why is there an serious snail climbing up the glass? That is not where you belong. I was like, what is it? My reef tank's over there. Anyway, well, one's there. But, yeah, they went out November through April, and then April through May, and then, no, I don't know. They got set in big chunks. So who knows with what's going on with the post offices these days. When you should get them all. If you don't, let me know. Give it some time. Well, you obviously are. But yay, that's exciting. We just sent out June's. So the postcards always, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you are a patron on the Phalo Blue level, you get a postcard each month. And by each month, I mean a year later. They eventually arrive. But it would be so June's would go out in July. July's goes out in August. So it's once I get the payment for the previous month, that's when the funds are used to buy the postcards, and then I know who, gets one. So June went out yesterday, and July I have labels on already, which is amazing, which means the stuff that should go out now in August. It is only the 11th and I already have labels done. I've got postage, or the stamps have been ordered. Once those I'll get those out. I'm so excited being on time. Linda came and helped, and you guys have not met Linda. She's in chat sometimes. She helped me get caught up, and it made all the difference in the world. Like, she seriously positively impacted my life because I'm not behind anymore. Like, it was so overwhelming because I was so behind on those. Anyway, yes, postcards are going out. Monica says, hi sis, thank you for always putting a smile on my face. Aw, she looked forward to Wednesday because of you. Oh, I want to give you a hug so bad right now. I saw the pictures you sent and I keep forgetting to go back because I never go on to Instagram. I look at messages first thing when I wake up, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to respond to this later. And then I think about it throughout the day. Sometimes, in your case, I did, but then I just didn't get back. I need to respond because I want to hug you so bad. Anyway, Joseph said, my favorites are a page like yours shared and a heavy lifters club or firearms enthusiasts or something in a foreign language I've never seen, let alone speak. I've been getting ads that are just on YouTube too, that the whole ad is in Chinese. And I'm like, I'm not, like, you're wasting, whoever made that ad, you're wasting their funds by advertising it to me, because I'm sure they would rather that ad be shown to somebody who speaks the language. Like, you guys are doing not you, but Google and Facebook are doing a terrible job of figuring out who should get what information. So just as a reminder, if you are just looking for straight art tutorials or art lesson, that is what Patreon or Subscribestar, same thing. You don't need to sign up for both. That is what those platforms are for. Every week I have a new lesson that's anywhere, usually 1 to 2, 3 hours long, right around there. Normally most, if not all of it, is in real time. And that is just straight lesson. It's not me rambling about everything I ramble about. So that is if you're just looking for art lessons, there are over 300 available for you immediately when you sign up. You can head over, check that out. I've got a link in the video description, hopefully to my Patreon video library. I don't know if I do. I'm bad at my job. So anyway, there's a lot. So that is, if you're just looking for lessons, that is what that is. But these are a time when we get to chat and hang out, because if you've ever messaged me, I rarely get back to anybody. It's a problem. There's no time. I don't take days off as it is. So it's like, when would I find time? This is when I have time to talk to you guys. So anyway, let's see. Tara said I have 3 and pin them to the top of my easel because that's where all my happy things are. Linda said, I'm here. That makes me so happy. Oh, yay! Linda, seriously, my God, you made a difference in my life. You have no idea. Linda was here. She got here at like 5 p.m. She was here till after midnight, 1 in the morning. I don't know. I know it was after midnight. I think it was closer to 1 in the morning. Heck, it could have been after 1. She sat there and worked her butt off. Like, you wouldn't believe. I can't believe how hard this lady worked so hard. And I got to hear stories about schools. She used to be a school teacher, so that was cool to hear some stuff. I'm caught up. Like, it's not a big deal to do 1 month at a time, but I had gotten so far behind. It was just, yeah, it's such a good feeling. Anyway, moving on. So on this one tonight, I don't remember, there was this corner we had talked about. I had an idea at the end of last week's live stream, or one of you guys mentioned it. I don't know, was it the anemone? If we do the anemone, I think I'm going to do it over here and let it be up close. Was that what it was we were talking about? Because I think we were thinking an anemone and maybe a clownfish. Now, this is one of the things I thought would be fun to do, too, if we do an anemone instead of, so all of these other corals, we just free-handed those in. I want to show you, too, with this, you can trace it as well if you prefer to trace in your work. That's also a way to go. So I'm going to show you how you can do that if that was something you wanted to do. So let's head over to Pixabay and see if I can find any anemone photos. Most of what I looked up on anemone were not anemones. This one, I'm pretty sure this is an angry torch, which is a coral, not an invert. An anemone is an invert. It's not actually a coral. That looks like an angry torch to me. I think that was mislabeled. Anyway, why do I have this here? Oh, no, I don't need you there. So let's see if I can find any. If not, I think I have some anemones I took the photo of. Maybe I'll just go that route. I know I had some good ones. Let's see if they'll work. Actually, that might save us some time. Let's go ahead and pull up my own stuff and see if I've got anything that will work for us. Let's see. Gypsy said, howdy, hey, happy Wednesday. Hope your weekend was fantastic. Love the final video of the orangutan. Turned out so good. Oh, thank you. Yes, it was actually good. I had Monday off. Monday was recording the voiceover for the orangutan, but I got ahead enough. We went out to dinner to BJ's. I got pizza and wine and Pizza and wine's a weirdly good combination. I wouldn't have expected that. I used to think, pizza and beer, but they never have gluten-free beer. So I tried the one. It was good, but it was fun. We never we'll stop and eat really quick, but just to stay and kind of hang out it was nice. It was like it was fun. We went home and watched a movie, and it was a weird movie. Actually, no, that one night I think we watched Suicide Squad. The next night we watched a weird movie. But anyway, yeah, let's see if I can find some Anemone. There was one with a clownfish. I don't know if it'll be in this or my external hard drive. So we're going to have to check for this. I guess enter didn't do anything. Marika said, I think it was a giant clam. Oh, you're right. Okay. So the corner on the right, I think we're going to do giant clam. Corner on the left, we're going to do, I think, an anemone and a clownfish. Oh, good. This is actually my photo. So that somehow seems even more appropriate to trace because I took the photo anyway. It's like mine start to finish. But I want to show you, it is it doesn't have the ends of it, so that one's not as good. I mean, I could kind of invent them, but nah, you're not as good. Let me see if I can find a different one that would be more fitting for this. Most of these are kind of too zoomed in. Let me see what else I have then. Actually, I bet it would be on my external. Hold on. Probably just have it under clownfish though and not anemone. Gypsy Heart said, I was sorry, missed your message about the code. Everything worked out and then. Yes, I got it. I thought it was taking me to the home page, and for Audible, no, I'm dumb. That wasn't even the night I had the wine. I have no explanation other than, yeah, I'm a genius. So yeah, I got it. Thank you. I haven't started it yet. So I've been listening to Wheel of Time. Wheel of the Never Ending Book is what that is. And I didn't like the first book very much, but towards the end, I'm like, okay, this is a little more interesting. You're finally, like last chapter, you're finally starting to kind of get me into this. So I downloaded the second one. I'm listening to that. It is somewhat better, but I should listen to a good book. I need to listen to your husband's book. Let's see. Yeah, that wasn't what I saved it under. Let's try Clownfish then. I don't know if I have any already. I want where I can see the tips of the anemone, where a lot of mine are a close-up that you might work. Where did some of these come from? This is back when graphic stock was a thing. Do you guys remember that? I know some of you guys, I'm sure, signed up for that. Graphic stock was one. I had done a promo for them. They had royalty-free images that you could were okay for artists to use in our paintings, which is unusual because normally, I don't know if you're aware of this, but most royalty-free, or not royalty-free sites, most like Shutterstock and those type of sites where you can pay, I'm trying to think of some of the other names, you can pay a fee, like buy an image and then you'd think you'd use it in your artwork. Yeah, you're using it, your artwork isn't a part of that normal license. So I contacted one of them once and there was a photo, it was beautiful, I wanted to use it so bad. And I was willing to pay for it. They couldn't give me a set fee on using it for art because it depended on how many prints of the art I would eventually sell, if the painting was going to sell. Like there were so many stipulations, and this, as it turns out, is really common with a lot of these things. So you think, hey, I paid for the photo, I can use it in my art. Most of them you can't. Graphic stock you used to be able to, and they changed their name. It's not graphic stock anymore. It's something else. I don't have their service anymore. They changed it completely. I don't like them anymore. I would not continue on with them at this point. I don't even think it's the same company. I know they changed the name, but now they made it to where you used to have tons of photos, tons of images. I used to use them on my thumbnails. I used them on everything, but then they changed it and you had to pay extra for like half the photos were no longer included in your annual subscription. You had to pay additional for anyway, but I still have rights to use these photos. So maybe, I don't know. Do I want to use you in this? Let's pull you in and we'll see. That might look good. Let's see. But that would put him in this corner instead. Maybe picking out, let's just see what that would look like. Just to get an idea before I bother painting it in. So I'm just going to erase some of this. Oh, I have to do that first. Let's erase the background and just get an idea if, oops, let's make that a little bit bigger. By the way, if you have not watched these other video or the other digital painting live streams, what I'm doing right now makes it look like all I'm doing is cutting and pasting a bunch of images together. I'm not. This is a little bit different. I'm showing you guys another way that you can get your images onto your canvas. Everything else we free-handed. But I am going to use this as an option, or tonight, whether we do the anemone and a clownfish or we do a clam, I do want to show you kind of some options there. Okay, let's see kind of what, as I throw my pen down, kind of what that would look like. I don't think I'm, no, well, it kind of works because it does make him look like he's way closer to the viewer. So it would push that forward and the other coral back. So that he might look cute, but I kind of don't like he's super in the corner. Kind of big for this painting for a clownfish. I don't know. What do you guys think? I could probably throw him over here too. Image. Let's flip him the other way. See, I love this with doing anything digitally. I can figure out, do I even remotely like it before I take the time to put it in there? Flip horizontal. Put him behind the mushrooms. No, because that doesn't work with the sizing of everything, would be very weird there. So that one definitely is not going to work. Maybe I'll hold off on the anemone clownfish idea. Wait, what if he was here instead? Let's drop you back and see if we like that. No, because the sizing doesn't work at all on that. See, this is the great thing with digital stuff. I can figure out some of this stuff before I take the time to draw it. I don't know. I'm not loving him at this point. I kind of liked him up front because it does give you a little bit of a placement. But I'm going to delete that. I don't think he's going to be our go-to for this. So I'm going to hold off on him. I think we'll go look and see if we can find a clam. Gypsy Heart said, I've yet to dive into Wheel of Time. It's a huge commitment. I like long books normally, but this book, it's long because the author's kind of bad at his job, I think. I just offended so many people. But he's not, I don't find him to be the best storyteller. I don't find it to be something that draws the listener in. Like, his first book was, 8 years long? And it, I don't think I'm over exaggerating. Anyone who's listened will probably agree. But it didn't I didn't feel remotely, like I gave zero craps about any of the characters. A couple of them I'm like, can we just knock him off because he's annoying? It started getting a little bit more interesting, so I'm kind of curious to see now where it goes, being that I've invested already the full 8 years of my life. It just went from 8 hours to 8 years. No, I think it started out as 8 years because it was definitely more than 8 hours. So yeah, that wrong exaggeration. But yeah, it's, I feel like he describes things that don't need to be described. Like, everyone knows what that is. You can just say the word. I don't need the color of something described. Like, just say the word. The word has a meaning. It has a definition. And when you get to the point where you're describing everything, and then there's like these little, I don't want to say side adventures, but like when the groups get separated and this happened, this people met these people and these people don't, and it had nothing. Maybe it'll come in later, but in the first book, none of it had anything, not none of it, but a lot of it didn't have anything to do with, like, it was just words for the sake of words. I felt like I was listening to a soap opera where you're like, stuff is happening, but it's not moving forward. Like, stuff keeps happening, conversations keep happening, but you're still stuck in one place. Well, not physically, they were moving, but like the story was not moving. So that was kind of my Wheel of Time thing. Paul said 70 plus pages in, and it's describing how good his love interest looks. I'm done. Oh man, now that one too. I hate that in books where all they care about is what someone looks like. Briefly describe to me what they look like, and on some, I'll listen to young adult books. If you want to tell me the guy's hot, fine. You just need to say it once. I don't need to hear it over and over again. It gets weird. It's like, that's all. I mean, I get it. It's for teenagers, and that's the thing teenagers are going to connect with. But it's like, can you like give him a personality? I'd like a personality. He can be ugly if he's got a personality. I don't care. Make him funny. But yeah, I hate that. Nick said, the Yankee thrift in me pushes forward towards the longer books, more bang for your buck or Audible credit. I definitely see, and I'm with you on that. If it's a book that's like 5 hours long on Audible, even if I think it's going to be good, I won't buy it. Like I will not, I cannot justify. And there's a few authors that have books I'm like, I'm not using a credit on that. So what am I looking for? We were going to look at a clam. So yeah, I definitely agree on, like, I do like long books, but make it long because it's good. That's a nice one. Just the rest of it's not. Not because you just wanted more words. Look, I wrote this epic thing by filling it with words that were unnecessary. You know, you're a soap opera writer is what you are. That's not an epic tale. And so many times in that book, I'm like, oh, I remember when this happened on Lord of the Rings. Oh, what's Frodo going to do next? Like, I keep thinking of the main character as Frodo, which they don't look anything alike. But like, my brain is like, oh, and I remember when this happened. Oh, it's kind of, I don't know. It just, yeah. That is what I feel about with those so far. Okay, we've only got 5 pages of clams, and mostly it's showing me snails and dried shells, which is not what I want. So I may be limited. Maybe I can ask, because I know there's a fish forum that I use called, or go to visit all the time, humble.fish/communities, something like that. It's awesome. But anyway, some of the people there have clams. Maybe I can get somebody to take a photo for me and let me use it in the artwork. So maybe I'll ask. And then if they will, if I can find anyone who has photos, I can do that. We can do that next week because it might be hard to find a decent photo. And they're really nice people on that forum. I love it. It has been so nice to go back to using a forum instead of Facebook to get stuff. So like every once in a while, just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I will check Facebook and then regret it nearly instantly. So the fish groups or like reef keeping groups on there, oh my God. Usually it's a photo. So we have lights on our tanks it makes everything when you photograph it very blue. You can't say anything, it just looks blue unless you know how to use your filters and make adjustments, or there are things to make that work, or just turn your white lights on, but apparently that's too hard for some people. And they'll take this photo and it's nearly blue. Can someone ID this for me? It's a blue square. I'm not sure what you think anyone's going to ID. Like, do you really think, did you look at that photo before you posted it and thought someone would know what the heck you were showing them? It's kind of funny. But anyway, the amount of misinformation, like I like Humblefish because the people on that forum, they know their stuff. Like, and there's so many helpful people there. It's so cool. And I go onto Facebook and the misinformation being spread. Yeah, there's nothing there. Let's check Unsplash really quick. The misinformation, you're just going, I'm fairly new. I've been in this for, or back into the hobby for like 2.5 years. I still am a noob. I know more. These people who are giving advice shouldn't be giving advice. Like, they should be asking questions. It's painful. And I am so glad to have forums again for some of this, this information, because the forums, you tend to get people who, and you guys have heard me talk about this. I've missed forums for a long time. Forums are, there's a close-up of one, but I don't need a close-up. I need a whole, maybe that guy has more images, because sometimes one person will take multiples. Let's find out if they did. But it's been so nice. Ooh, pretty. It's been so nice having like good advice and things you can trust, versus what gets posted on anything to do with animals anything really on Facebook groups. Like, it amazes me the bad advice. You get that a lot on the tree frogs too. And you're just going, so much bad advice. I like the forums much better. I hope we go back more to forums than normal social media. I'm liking that a lot better right now. Like, I spend a stupid amount of time on that Humblefish forum. I'm always like refreshing. Did anyone else post something new I can look for? Ooh, I like that. The sponge. We are painting him. We're just going to go ahead and save that. For sure, we're going to paint him. I need to pull him over into where did I have that saved? Digital. Marine, save. So I really like those sponges. Sponges, while looking for clams. Let's see, anything else? So yeah, moral of that story, I'll see if somebody over there has a photo they'll let me use. I'm not seeing much in the way. Actually, you know what? I do want to check one more thing on Pixabay because, ooh, that's a pretty photo. There are amazing shots. Oh, look at the manatees. My gosh, there are some really good. Ooh, saving that. I always have a hard time. See, this is why it's hard to find reference photos. This is listed. Okay, he does have pot of killer whales, but one of them was like blue and white whales. What? I'm gonna just go ahead and save you because I don't know if we're gonna use you on this one, but maybe. So one of the things that I have found that works really well, you'll get people who will post things, whether it be birds that like they took really good photos, but they don't know what kind of bird it is. So if I were to search like hyacinth macaw, they might not know the bird they took a photo of was a hyacinth macaw. So if I find somebody who has really good photos in the subject matter I'm looking at, look at their other. So like right now, I'm not looking under a definite search. I'm looking under this user because they have good photos and they tend to have a lot of ocean stuff. So that is a way that I have found. Ooh, that's a good one of this dolphin. Let's go ahead and save you. It's a good way for you to find stuff because stuff is just not always listed as you would think it would be. Still looking. Ooh, I might be able to make that work. Let's go ahead and save those clams. It's 2 clams. I'd rather have one. But I think, no, that might work, and I like the color. So let's just go ahead and save that. Now, Unsplash will save things and tell you that it's like you got it from Unsplash, so you know where the reference photo came. If you're downloading a bunch of photos like this from Pixabay, I like to make a little thing next to it and say Pixabay so I knew where it came from and I know it's royalty-free and I'm able to use it. It wasn't something random I found on the internet and just thought was pretty. Man, this guy has a lot of, or girl, whoever, has a lot of photos or company. I don't even know if it's an individual. Okay, I think we're getting duplicates now. Yeah. Ooh. We'll save you. And let's see if those clams look good in this one. Okay. Pull some of this back up. Paul, oh, nope, got that one. Paul said, I don't mind slow books, really, as long as it's alluding to what you're anticipating to. And, oh, I love when my assumptions were wrong, too. Like, and the author was hinting at me, but it was not. Yes, I like that, too. I do like when there are decent twists. There was a book I listened to recently, and it was hilarious because, or not listened to, I actually read that one. It was like under my Kindle Unlimited. So I was like, I'm not out anything to try this one. It was so horrible. It was like they tried to combine every mystical creature possible, but it started out, you thought it was just a vampire book. Really, it was a vampire werewolf. Then you find out she's really this other thing, not the thing you thought she was. And so, because the author's like, twists and turns you won't see coming. You can say that again, because nothing, like, it was just, like, she took a grab bag of ideas and shook it up and was like, and now this happened. And none of it had anything to do with anyone. It was the most random, like, it was the worst set of books. Oh my God, it was painful. I couldn't go any further. It was just so annoyingly bad. Like, and she was combining every possible mystical, and not in a fun way, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love that. And I like books that do have different things, but this one, they were not well connected, and you did like it didn't work. Where did I save that? We're gonna check and see if these clams look any good. Let's see. Let's shrink that down. Susan said, I read a book recently that for me read like a bad first draft rather than a polished edited book, and it was so awful for me. Yeah, that happened to me recently, and it's one of my favorite, let's erase some of this to see how it would look. It was one of my favorite series. Like, I absolutely love this series, and the author, she needs an editor. I don't think she has an editor at all, and the amount of, like, the complete wrong word used. So I don't know if autocorrect changed it to something else. She's from South Africa, and she does use words and terminology that aren't what we would use here in the US. But the problem is the book is set here. Well, part of it is. The main girl grew up here. So it wouldn't make sense for her to say, like, crisps instead of chips. Okay, I can dismiss that. And they're still my favorite. Like, I love the story. But the lack of editing, I couldn't the last one that came out, and I was so looking forward to it. And it was painfully like, she just needs an editor. Honestly, I think if she had that, it would make all the difference in the world. But I mean, the errors, you would go through every single page would have multiple errors, every single page. Like, it's that extreme. And hers, once it gets into, they make audiobooks with it. Once you get into the audiobooks, it's not so, like, it's not as obvious when you're reading on your own. Those errors are so, like, someone took a highlighter to those errors. So yeah, that one was not that disappointing for sure, because I do love those stories. It's just, she just needs an editor. I've been tempted like to offer, like, I can edit this for you and point out, like, it's not just like the wrong word being used, the grammar being an issue, you know, little things like that. But when it's at multiple per page, if it's one here and there, no biggie. When it's multiple per page, it got to the point, and all her books are bad, like, they're not bad, they're bad with the needing an editor. This last one was so extreme, I still haven't finished it. I looked forward to this book like crazy. I can't finish it because it's all like, I don't know how, it was bad. Let's see. Oops. That just jumped. There we go. Paul said, true that. It's not like they accidentally posted it, or maybe they were disconnected with reality at the moment because there's a thought process in publishing stuff. Steven said, what was it that you found in your hallway? Are you going to tell us? Okay, since you asked. So right now she is in a deli cup. I don't know if you can see her right there because it's kind of, I ordered her a new house. She's a tan jumping spider. I've wanted a jumping spider for a while. And last night I was walking down the hall. So my house has like 3 halls that run parallel to each other. The entryway, well, no, the mudroom, the entryway, the hallway to the bedrooms. And I catch myself walking down the wrong hallway all the time. And that's what happened last night. I'm carrying a cup like that. One of the deli cups had crickets in it for, here, Amelia, you can go sit back over there. I'm carrying a cup of crickets into the frogs. I'm feeding my tree frogs that are in quarantine. Going down the hall, catch myself down the wrong hall. I turn around and I'm like, crap, a cricket's on the wall. It got out. So I'm like, I'll just scoop him into the cup and feed him to the frogs too. It was definitely, I feed banded crickets, so I know it's not a wild cricket that's been exposed to anything bad. I don't have any pesticides in my house, so I don't worry about that. Not inside. So, actually not outside either. But anyway, so I'm taking him, I go to get it. I'm like, it's a jumping spider. I've wanted one for a while. I had already researched the care. I knew some. I mean, I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I knew enough to know. Give her water on a Q-tip, dechlorinated water. She was so thirsty. So she's been in my hallway for at least a couple, 2-3 weeks. So she, we saw her in one area, and we were going to catch her and put her outside so she didn't die, but she got away. She went behind one of my paintings, and I'm like, whatever. So I'm assuming it's the same one. So she was super, super skinny. Their little butts or their abdomen gets really little when they're dehydrated or they haven't been eating. So she didn't have any food or anything. So I put her in the deli cup, poked bigger holes in it, gave her a fake leaf. I gave her water. That she drank right away. Gave her some crickets, and she was hungry. Oh my gosh. So I ordered her a bigger house, and now she's my office buddy. I'm like, if you want to live in my house, you can live in my house, but I need to make sure you've got food and water. So this is how it has to happen. But I'm excited. I'm going to go get cute little dollhouse stuff. I'm going to make her little enclosure super cute. So yeah, that's, there we go. Let's see. Paul said a skinwalker in the weird book that was going back and forth. Probably. There's not much she did not include in that book, and it was terrible. Let's see, the weird random one that started out with vampires. Karina said, have you ever painted or drawn a sea cow manatee? Several times. Actually, I did one, and the last one I painted sold, that I did during a paint along here. Gypsy Heart said, I do that too. I label everything where it came from so I know exactly what's usable and what's only usable as reference for color or something like that. Yep. Cat's Art Picks, I usually put not RF on the ones that I just like stole from the internet where I, like you said, like I just wanted an idea of color or yeah. Cat's Art Pick said, what's the longest amount of time you spent looking for a reference photo? Probably days. It depends on what it was. Like, okay, so if you guys remember the giraffe that I did, or no, I always get giraffe and zebra mixed up for some reason. The zebra that I did in, we could just do it in the corner maybe. I think I'm going to tint the color though. Let's see. I don't know. Anyway, the zebra that had the bees, the beehive, and then the bee on the neck. I wanted a very specific angle. I tried taking my own photos, and it took me forever to find the right zebra. So that one, I would say I probably spent months, because that painting was planned for a very long time. I don't love these colors though. Let me see if I adjust this a bit. Let's see if just adjusting hue and saturation. I know. But yeah, that one was ridiculous. Like I wasn't just sitting around looking for a photo though. I got tons of painting done. Like it was probably a year by the time I painted it from when I planned that painting, maybe longer. I don't remember. But I would say that was the longest that I had something so specific I was looking for until I found the right photo. Maybe I would need to go more blue because it's a little bit, although that would work because fish would be swimming in front of it. I just don't know. Would the average person know that's a clam? I always think of clams of having a more purpley blue, and I'm not seeing the whole thing in this. What do you guys think? I don't know. That photo might not be it for us. Let's see. Susan said, I've been a part of a few arcs and I have no mercy. I'm not nasty, but if something doesn't make sense, I'll call them on it. Vermin said, I just arrived. Were we talking about spiders? Yes, she's I caught her last night. And by caught her, I mean saved her because she was starving. Little tan jumping spider. Her name is Amelia. And she's going to be my desk buddy. Right now, she's in a deli cup with holes. It's a ventilated deli cup. But I ordered her a larger. Actually, I went on the large side for the enclosure because I have room on the desk where she's going to be. And I'm going to make her a cute little house. I just have to think of what all I want to do for her. Tara said, I knew it. I was going to say spider, but I didn't want to ruin it for everyone. Burma said, all I heard are deli cup and crickets. Io said, you should draw your new spider for Halloween. Yeah, I'll have to when she's in her new enclosure. See, and I don't know how old she is. These guys don't live that long. Like, start to finish on a female can be 1 to 3 years, but even less. And I don't know how old she is. So she could already be, I don't know, she may not even make it to getting the new house. I don't know. I mean, she'll have a well-fed, well, not well-fed. You don't want to overfeed them because it shortens their lifespan, but she'll have food. She'll have more, like a proper setup and be comfortable. We'll see. But that would be fun. I'm thinking I really want to, after her, I want to see, I've seen them on my patio. I want to catch or go to a reptile expo and find one. The black fluffy ones. So the tan, she's not as fluffy. She has a cute little fluffy in her front legs, but her whole body isn't as fluffy as those black, really, like the regal ones. I really want that. Any plans for another watercolor piece? Yes, actually. So I was thinking this week a charcoal and then getting started, because that charcoals are fast, on a watercolor piece that will go through next week, because I'm a little bit slower on watercolor since it is a newer medium for me. Maybe just watercolor this week. But yeah, if it's not this coming week, it'll be the following week. I just need to figure out what I want to paint. Let me know if you've got any suggestions. But yes, that's actually one of my very next one. I'm thinking charcoal and watercolor, or just watercolor. One or the other. Gypsy Heart said, I think we need to revive Zombie Snail with Bride of Zombie Snail for Halloween this year. Or maybe Zombie Snail new friend can be a jumping spider. Those guys, look up tan jumping spider. Some of the photos where there's a close-up of their face. Oh, she's cute. And it is a female, which is good because girls can live longer. The boys have funnier actions with their arms and waving. But yeah, she's really cute. It's really odd because typically it is very frowned upon to take like local, like frogs. If I were to go outside and get a frog, people would tell me off if I posted that online. I mean, I would never do that because I realize that's not a good idea. They have parasites. There's a lot of reasons you want to leave them outside. Jumping spiders are the one animal that they're like, just go outside and get one and it's your new pet and you can take care of it. It's kind of a funny little phenomenon there. Okay, so I'm not sure. Not super in love with that clam. The colors aren't working there. Maybe if I did it on this side. See, it doesn't even look that much like a clam to me. I think I need a different photo. I don't like it. I'm making an executive decision there and saying I don't like it. Hi, Angie. Okay, so if it's not that, maybe go back to seeing if we can find, oh my gosh, we're at 8:39 and I've not done crap. Okay. I am just going to see what coral I have. Do I have something I can add? Oh, we did like the sponge. So let's do the sponge tonight. I don't want to trace. That's kind of boring. I was going to show you like something more elaborate way we trace stuff, but maybe I'll save that for next time. Let's just get a sponge. Let's get something going. So this is the sponge I'm going to base it off of, but we'll adjust the lighting, obviously, and everything else. Okay. So where do I want the sponge? I think I'm going to do it in this back corner here. So it's not going to be the exact same shape. I'm just using that as a general guideline. I draw sponges a lot in my work. I really like them. So let's start a new layer. I'm going to need 2 layers. I need bottom sponge. That's not how you spell sponge. I don't ever spell sponge. Is there S-P-O-N-G-E? I don't know. I'm probably spelling that wrong. We can all laugh. And top. S-P-O-U? No, there's no U in there. That's sponge. I don't know. I can't spell for crap. There we go. Okay. So now start drawing some of that in there. I think, do you want that to be like a dark blue or kind of a, I'm just going to go a little bit darker. Actually, we'll start the lines and then I can go darker. What I like to do when I draw the sponges is draw in my tops. So we've got sponges in the background. I've got a lot of those. So this will be fun to have one that's a little bit more defined. And sponges are like a, I don't know what to add right now. Add a sponge. It's kind of my go-to, like random, I can't think of anything to add to this marine life. I'm going to do this, and I'll draw them in all kinds of colors. You know what? I don't like this one. Maybe another one over here. That works. Okay. We can add more to it if we need to, but that should be good. So I'm going to start by shading in the centers. Let's actually zoom that in some. Gypsy Heart said, if you can find a good reference, I suggest maybe a leafy sea dragon. I can include one because I have the reference. I took it myself. Actually, didn't I make that one of our reference photos this month on Patreon? I think I included one. We'll draw him for sure. I like it. I think it is a good suggestion. What do I have? I don't even know which one I'm using here. Round would probably be better. Yeah, we'll do it this way. So some of these I'll have angling towards the viewer. Actually, I think I'm going to make that one angling away a bit more. Let's change that so you're not really seeing as much. We don't want them all angling at the viewer the same way. Yeah, you're right. Verma said a leafy sea dragon would be complicated. It'll take a long time, but obviously I plan on spending 8 years on this one. It'll take as long as it takes me to finish the dang Wheel of Time book. Yeah, it's I may have to hit a point where I just do some of this not on the live stream because it is just taking too long. And I know that I'm sure some people would prefer I just get to back to some of the normal like paint alongs with acrylics. Okay. So let's get some light coming in there. I'm gonna actually change you to a softer brush and we'll drop the opacity down. Just let it overlap. That's still too, a little bit on the harsh side, but it'll work. So now it looks like it gets darker as you move into that sponge. And I want to make sure that that curves around too, so we get that more three-dimensional look. We don't want it to look flat. So we're not just going to do a straight line where that curve is. See how it curves around? Okay, I want some texture here, but let's just start with a base color. think I'm going to go with more of a, what do you think, purple? Let's back this out and see what color we think would look good. Yeah, let's try it with purple, and then if I don't like it, we'll just adjust the color there. That Gypsy Heart said, if you can find, oh, you were thinking for the watercolor. I'm not paying attention. The watercolor with the Leafy Sea Dragon, that would actually be really good, I think. I like it. I think he would be good because I want to practice some detail with watercolor. I like it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh my gosh. I'm all excited now. I think I'm going to probably start him tomorrow night then, because now I'm all excited now that he's chosen. Yay. I'm stupid excited about this. Thank you. Like really excited. Like I can't wait to start it now that you've mentioned it. I don't know, do you guys like when somebody else gives you ideas? Because sometimes, well, the orangutan and the mushrooms and I think I did the mushrooms, but you guys had the idea of moss. I wouldn't have even considered that. So, and that's one of my favorite paintings right now, which is saying something because orangutans, they're cool, but they're not my favorite. That painting's my favorite, right? One of my favorites. I really like how he came out. Do I want purple? So here's the thing. Let's say I go with purple. Purple is nowhere else in this piece. So let's say I wanted that level of purple. I'm going to have to pull that level of purple into other things. I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I like it. My idea of purple just got vetoed. We're going to just stay with our kind of deeper blue aqua type colors. So I'm going to start with that. Leafy Sea Dragon watercolor. That is going to be so fun. Ooh, you are really translucent. I need solid. Maybe a little one back here. Kind of sticking up. I'll have to put the center back in, but it looked a little weird. Okay, you actually are going to need to be below. I'll have to move this around. So right now, like I can paint on top, if I'm on the right layer, of this. And what'll happen, let me go ahead and drop these two back. They need to be below the mushrooms. There we go. So there's one thing that, well, there are a few things, but makes digital painting pretty easy. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. Okay, good. I think we're caught up on that. Alice said, am I late? I don't think I've been on time to your lives in years. I always find out after it ends. Hey, you're over an hour before it ends. So I think you're early by your regular standards. I'll take it. I'm glad you're here. Okay. See, I don't even have to be careful. I can go right over where those mushrooms are. Like I'm coloring on top of them, but because it's actually behind it, you don't see it, which is good. What color did I use last? We'll just match that. Oops, that's not the right brush. And it's way too big. And way too opaque. Okay. Yeah, that should work. Let's see. Now let's do some texture on these. Let's get some shading, but I'm going to switch my brushes. I'll use one of my fancy Aaron Blaze brushes because he has the best brushes. Which ones do I want to go with? Foliage. Probably a foliage one, I would imagine. Wait, what are his custom brushes under? Sampled brush. Oh, that actually works. Can I select just you? So that only goes on you. And oh, I should stay out of the one area though. Let's be a little bit more controlled. There we go. I like that texture. Whoops, too much. Don't push so hard. These brushes are pressure sensitive, so you get different effects depending on how much pressure you add. Let's darken some of that up. I want it a little bit more blue. There we go. It just gives us a little bit of texture in there before I start really shading and defining stuff more. That works. Cat's Art Pick said, I tried using the magic wand and GIMP to cut out an image, and when I connected the points, it didn't work. Any ideas? I don't use GIMP, so I'm not sure. I don't know on that. Okay. Let's go with another brush now. Actually, I don't need you selected like that anymore. We've got a decent amount of texture. I want to go back up to these guys. And I want to get some of those really dark values in there first, and then I'll work on top of that. I go a lot darker. I want almost black at this point. So it's really in shadow, and I can come back and get my highlights back over it. Clark Fine Art said, I love Aaron Blaze's brushes. I finally figured out how to get them into Procreate and have been using them in my Kingfisher digital painting. Nice. Yeah, his brushes are so good. They were like, they're the reason that because I was using an old like Photoshop 7 or something. It was one that you would purchase, so you didn't do the annual or the monthly subscription like what I do now. But his brushes didn't work in that. And so I got the current. That's why his brushes are why I got the normal, like the upgraded, the subscription, because I needed those brushes to work. Now as I push these back in shadow, look how it'll pull these mushrooms forward. I'm going to work back and forth until I get this how I like them. Nothing on these mushrooms is like, nothing needs to be perfect yet. I don't have cool mushrooms like this in my tank. I have little white ones that want to take over everything. Does Photoshop have a magic wand or a fuzzy select tool? We do have a magic wand. I don't know fuzzy select. I'm not sure what that is. I am not a Photoshop pro by any stretch of the imagination. So keep that in mind. I am slow with doing painting in Photoshop because I just haven't done that many of them. Eos said, I'm drawing a tiger underwater. Watching this is really helping me. Nice. Gypsy Heart said, I saw a photo on Pixabay that as soon as I saw, I was like, that looks like something Lachri Fine Art would do in charcoal. I sent you a link on MeWe. Nice. Oh, I kind of want to see now. Hold on. I have to go look. Also, if you want to get a hold of me, MeWe is definitely the place to go. That's where I spend my time. Let's see. A chimpanzee. Oh, wow. That is a good photo. You guys in your chimps and orangutans, these aren't my, like, I like the ocean. And you guys are bringing up these animals that I normally don't do. And then once I did that orangutan, I'm like, why have I never painted one of these before? It's amazing. So I have a feeling that would feel the same way. Let's see. Let's start getting some lighting a little bit. I'm going to get my darks a bit darker still. And we'll get that to where it looks almost more backlit a little bit on these. Whoops. Actually, you can be shrunk down quite a bit. I still think I want darker. Gypsy Heart said, I know it's different, but it's super striking. It just made me think simple yet striking in charcoal. It is. Well, I don't know how simple. Well, everything that even as hard in charcoal goes fast. Like charcoal is just so cool in how fast of a medium it is. Okay, I'm going to use the second layer of the top sponge for my highlights there. Actually, let's erase some of this. It's a little bit, you're a little loud. Tone some of that down. Okay. Now, I think I am going to go back to those more teal type. Maybe we'll do that. Let's see how that works out. Getting these highlights in there. We want to give him, I want it to look like the light is coming a little bit more behind them. I think this guy's too tall. I don't like how far he's sticking out into the water. Actually, maybe he's okay. I may change that. We may tone him down. He's a little bit like, pay attention to me. We may tone him down once we get through with the fish and stuff. But then again, once I go through with the fish, he may get blocked anyway. So he may not, it may not matter at all. We'll find out. Let's see, get some more of the highlighting in here. I wish that you get a lot of people online who talk about digital painting not being real painting, and I think a lot of the time it's because they think that it's digital photo manipulation, and that's not the same thing. I mean, you can do digital painting on a photo and kind of get, you can get some cool effects that way, but that's not what it is. And I wish more people would see how much time, like this takes as much time as if well, maybe not as much depending on what I'm doing, but this is not a super fast, like it's not, you're actually painting. Yeah, Stingray would be cool. The only thing, if they were kind of swimming in the background, that would work. The thing with Stingrays, they're a very odd shape. And I find that they're a little bit more difficult to make their shape work with most compositions. So it's like, here's a big blob. So that can be a little bit of a challenge, but if they're in the distance, that can look cool. You have to be careful with them. Like, they're very odd. It can certainly be done, but they are an odd shape. Like, they're a look at me weird shape. Like, I'm just kind of like, so there's a fish, the juvenile batfish is an example of this. And one of my old original paintings, I used one. It was like in the foreground out front. They're a big black fish with orange around the rim. They're really cool looking fish, but to try to make that work in with your composition, it's kind of like no matter where you put it, that's going to be what people focus on. So it's a weird shape, striking colors. And so certain things are like, that's going to take a little bit more planning on my part. Kind of like just simple like this for these guys. What should we do next? I may come back and do more with those, but I have a feeling a lot of these guys are going to end up getting covered by fish. And so I'm like, I don't really want to spend too much time because now on the edges, tone some of that down. A little bit too loud. There we go. I think I'm going to leave those as is for a moment. Whoops. Nope, that wasn't what I meant to do. I think they need some more bright aqua highlights to balance the other side out. I think they're a little bit too dark now that I'm looking at the whole thing. So I'm going to pull this color that I used here that's super bright. I'm going to pull a little bit of that into these just to balance these two areas out. How about a butterfly fish? Oh, I will definitely have some butterflies in this one. I really like painting those guys. It's not a fish I will have in my own fish tank, so I like to paint them. I like to paint a lot of things like Moorish idols. It's not a fish I would ever keep. I mean, not that I even have a tank big enough, but even if I did, I don't. It's not a fish I would do. So they don't do well in captivity for some reason. But anyway, so I like to paint a lot of the fish that I'm like, that's not a fish I'd ever have, but I love them. So butterflies are definitely one of them. A lot of butterflies like to eat coral. I like coral. And I don't want just a tank with just fish, so... Oops, what am I doing? Wrong direction. It's a little bit better. I do like the lightness there. Do you think these mushrooms could use a little bit of that color too? We'll see. We will see. Okay, what should we do next? Don't forget to save your, thank you, Cats Artfix. Actually, I just did that a second ago, but you know, you mentioned it. Why not do it again? Let's see what we should do next. What other coral do I have? Actually, pull that back up. You and I've got a bunch of coral saved. We can go check. Tidal Gardens has some new stuff that went up too. So Tidal Gardens, if you are a member of their Patreon, you have lots of reference photos each month. Oh, I'm not logged in. I'm not logging in online. No, I don't need anyone to see my photos or my thing. So I am not going to look at those right now. So never mind to that because, oh wait, I could. Hold on, I can do it. I'm dumb. I'm not thinking clearly. We'll just, there we go. Now I can log in and not show everyone my login stuff. So let's try that again. I'm going to Patreon. Apparently got logged out today for some reason. Log in. They're going to send me my verification code. Okay, I want to go over to Tidal Gardens. And I'll pull you guys back up so you can see. There we go. So now I'm on Tidal Gardens page, and let's see if there are any coral that he's posted lately that we might want to include. So some of these, like that's a macro shot. Actually, I should probably shrink this over so you guys can see better. This one's a macro shot of an SPS coral. Like this wouldn't, you're not going to see polyps to that level of detail. That would be like a piece this big, and it's just zoomed way in. He's got amazing photos, but for this piece, not really a fit. So I want to look and see, I wonder if he has any anemones he's posted. I know he had some like crazy expensive ones he was selling recently. Some of those, coral in general, it's crazy the price some of these go for. I'm not that fancy. My coral's all cheap, like the cheaper side of things. Ooh, that's a mushroom. That is amazing. Ooh, another mushroom that I really like. I wonder if he has them separated at all. I don't know if he does by tags. Patreon, I haven't even looked. Patreon has a new search thing. I don't know how well it works. I don't know how to try it. Nope. Oh, that is a crazy anemone. Wow. Nexus Burst anemone. Wow. And that's just a little piece of one. Holy crap. Oh, there's a bigger one. We could include him. And that's like a fuller, he's a little on the deflated side, but let's go ahead and save that. That photo is amazing. And I can stick a clownfish in there so we can see. There we go. Let's save the whole image. Patreon, let's put on there that it's Tidal Gardens so I know. Tidal Gardens, if you're not familiar, they are a coral vendor, and he also, Fan, takes the most amazing photos of the coral. Like it's incredible, the photos he gets. So, oh, he's got a bunch. Woo! Wow, the Patreon search thing is working pretty well. I mean, I guess I'll keep up with the Patreon video library, but it's nice to know people. Oh, that makes sense. I've had a few people lately pulling up really old posts of mine where I'm like, how did you come across that one? Because it's been updated since then. I bet you it's the search feature that's coming up on. That makes sense. Because I wondered how some people found, because it's not on my library. I have the current one on my library. I bet you that feature is, oh, wow. That looks like a mushroom. It's not. No. Okay, I think that's good enough. Let's see if that coral that I just pulled up will work for us. Pulling everything. Oh, that's not the window I need open. I need that window and that window and that window and then this one in front. There we go. Let's see. Paul said, we're going to the beach. See you, Lisa. Oh, have fun. I'm jealous. If you time-lapse what you do off-stream, I'm good with you working somewhat off-screen. Huh? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I wouldn't record it. Like if I'm going to doodle anything or do anything on this off screen, like when it's not live streaming, I'm not going to record it at all. It would be like a quick sketch thing where I'm not going through the trouble of doing all of that for this one. Brent said, I have a coworker that farms coral and he recently lost about 8,000 in coral to some kind of infection. Oh, what kind of coral? Infection. It almost makes me think of brown jelly disease. Was it an LPS? That sucks. Or unless it was SPS that gets different. Yeah. Okay. That sucks. Weirdly enough, though, when you think of it, if he has a lot of coral, 8,000 is not even that much compared to like how much money coral can cost. So I'm curious. Oh, it sounds weird to say that's not that bad. It's just that I know of coral farmers that have like just hundreds of thousands of dollars in coral that, oh, that sucks though. Let's see. I just think when I think of infection on coral, I always think of brown jelly disease that LPS gets. Okay. What did I have? The anemone. Let's get that photo. And if this works, I can do this as the thing I show you guys with the tracing I was talking about. So let's start by cropping this. So get that set. Oops, I'm cutting off part of his little arms. Oh my gosh, if I do this though, maybe I could do it in a fast way. Probably not. Actually, I wouldn't even trace that exactly. I think I would go for semi-close. I don't know. But let's see if we like how that might even look. Just pull some of this out. Yeah, good enough, whatever. Let's erase a little bit. And this is just to give me an idea, like, do I like this general look before I go through and actually draw him in? Okay. Paul said, would your husband get the axolotl? No. No more pets. Except for the spider I just got. But I found her in my house already. She's just now in a thing. No, because if he wanted one, he can go for it. But he needs to take care of the water change in the tanks. I'm at my limit on what I can take care of, especially right now because that tank dealing with the fish having flukes, and I don't know if I've got dino starting because I've been screwing with the water chemistry and trying to fix the fish. Anyway, I'm definitely at my personal limit on what I'm able to take care of. And that is, I'm not adding anything else between the frogs and that. And then of course, usual dog care. My husband has his snake and his birds that he takes care of. But like we have our own thing that I'm like that. I'm not adding more. And I don't even want more. Like I don't want, we joke our house is a zoo, but it's a very pretty zoo. And it gets to the point, like you keep pushing that. And now it's just a weird, there's just tanks everywhere. So I really don't want to turn into that. But I mean, that would be up to him if he wanted one in like his bedroom or something. He snores, so we have separate bedrooms. That always sounds weird. People are like, oh, are you having problems? No, he snores is the problem. So if I want to sleep and not kick him all night, we just, yeah. So anyway, yeah, no, I don't think any more animals. Not one that I have to take care of, that's for sure. Brent said, I don't know coral terminology, but it was spread between all 3 of his tanks. None of his fish were harmed. They were in separate tanks. Wow, and it was a disease, you said, not a parasite? I'm almost curious, just out of curiosity. That sucks. Tell him I am sorry. Paul said, get him one for his birthday, you know? No. I am not getting him something I have to take care of. Leisha said, Spider, do tell. Oh, you see Amelia again? Well, you can't really see her because the cup is really opaque. Where is she right now? Oh, there she is. I don't know if you can see. See that little smudge right in front of, like right there? That is Amelia. You can't really see her from the top. I'm getting her a proper enclosure where it's big and she is big. But I found her last night in my hallway. She's a tan jumping spider, so she has a cute fluffy face and the little, so cute. But she was starving. She's been living in my hallway for, I think she's the same one that's been in there for a few weeks. And we saw her, you can't live. There's no food in the house. So I tried to catch her a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. We were going to just put her outside. But then last night I found her. I'm like, she's so skinny, to the point where I was like, is that even a jumping spider? Because her butt was, I say butt, her abdomen was so little because she hadn't been eating or drinking. So I put her in, I got her in the cup and gave her a Q-tip with water, and she drank right away. She was so thirsty. So I gave her that, and then she's now been, I have crickets already because of the frog. So I was like, it doesn't take anything extra to take care of her. So, I mean, once every 4 to 6 days, you throw in a cricket. They don't eat often. If you feed them too often, they actually shorten their lifespan. So, yeah, she lives on my desk now. That's Amelia. If you look up tan jumping spider, you'll see, like, find a good photo, but the one, the close-up of their face, so cute. So little. Cat's Art Big said, how are Gibson, Wade, and Purple Frog doing? Purple Frog is doing good. It was, okay, TMI info, that's gross, but, frog drama. So he is always retaining way too much water. That's like an ongoing problem with him. What if he was, like this might be really cool. Anyway, he's been holding in too much water, and he had a weird wet, and I should have done a fecal on it, but it was right before bed, and I'm like, I'm not taking care of that. But he had a weird, like, large stool, and he like expelled all the excess water. He looked like a normal frog. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. He's been up, he's been eating, he's been doing good, and that is definitely the anemone that is going there. I will have to pull some of his little things in front of these. We'll do a little bit of actually, I just like that how it is. And then we can put a little clownfish in there. So yes. Okay, I will show you the tracing thing I wanted to show you that you can do in Photoshop. If you wanted to trace it, not freehand, it is an option. Turn on. Wade and Gibson are doing great. I don't think I have any interesting stories with them. Gibson weirds me out with how smart he is. So Gibson sleeps in my room. Wade stays up at night because my husband works nights. He stays up and hangs out with Matt. So Gibson in the mornings, I always get up and go brush my teeth, check on the fish, check on the frog, glitches in here. I check on her, do all that stuff. And then I go back in and get Gibson and then take him and Wade out to go to the bathroom. So Gibson, when I go back in, I'm like, okay, you can get up. Is what I always use that term. You can get up. The other day I slept in a little longer than normal. I'm like, okay, I'll brush my teeth while they're outside. So I got up. He normally knows just to wait. And I said, okay, I started with the, okay, you can get up. He was up before I was even out. Like, he knows that phrase. I didn't even know he knew what that meant. I was like, that dog he weirds me out on how much he understands and how smart how smart he is. Wade is not as intelligent, but Gibson, that dog, he seriously does. He understands a weird amount. Like, he'll be in the backyard. I didn't want him to potty in the one area because it was harder to reach with the hose to hose it off. And I was like, don't go over there. Go over to the other side. He looks at me, turns around, walks off to the other side. I'm like, okay, this is where we always joke, or I always joke. My husband just rolls his eyes. I'm like, he was reincarnated, or he used to be a human, and he angered a witch who turned him into a dog, and that is... He was reincarnated. Like, he understands too much, and it weirds me out. Wade didn't understand anything. But yeah, Gibson, they're both doing good though. Leisha said, oh, jumping spiders are the only ones I think are cute. I think some of the tarantulas are cute too, but jumping spiders especially. Gypsy Heart said, lately our house here in Atlanta has been overrun with the tiny black jumping spiders. I usually only say one occasionally. Lately it's been 3 a day. I guess the rain is driving them in. Oh, wow. This is the first one I've seen inside. I see them on my patio occasionally, but never inside. Brent Desart said, my coworker said it was a parasite on new corals. He agreed to store for someone else. That'll do it. So I bet you it was an SPS, because the parasites that get on those are some of the worst. Well, I don't know. You get flatworms that'll eat LPS too, but SPS, it's one of, there are several reasons. I'm not going to get into SPS corals, but one of the reasons is there are so many parasites. And I'm like, you can dip them, but then they're there, and then I'm just, nope. El Ruby said, yeah, dogs will surprise you. He definitely does. Like, he is weirdly, like, and he's intuitive. So he also will go by, obviously, your tone of voice. Wade doesn't pick up on that stuff. Gibson is so, like, he's more aware of things than I think he should be. Okay, so let's make a new layer. I'm going to do the outline. And I just want to show you how we can... Oh, you can just drag a photo into, so let's say you're doing a digital painting and you don't want to freehand it. This is also an option for you. So we can take that. This is my lines for the anemone. Yeah, Gibson is crazy smart. Hi, Williska. Said, hi, I love your art. Thank you. Flatwood, Gypsy Art said, flatwoods creep me out so gross. What's a flatwood? I know flatworm. Oh, flatworm. Okay, you did mean that. See, and I wasn't just being a smartass there and trying to be like, oh, you said the wrong thing. Like, I genuinely thought you meant flatwood and you were going to teach me something. I'm so disappointed. Moody Roan said, almost seems like if you talk to dogs with a more human language phrases, they learn faster and are smarter. I do that with all my dogs. Always amazes me how smart they are. Sometimes, yes. Wade, no. Wade is the biggest derp. He is the sweetest boy, but dear God, he is not a smart animal. But, oh, man, he's sweet. Like, you have to love him, but he's not smart. Okay, so we can come through and just trace. Do you need to trace it? Absolutely not, but it is an option for you. So let's say if you're somebody who likes to do like a light box or something normally on your art, this is our version of that. And, whoops, I'm not even in the lines, whatever. It doesn't matter on this. What you can do with Photoshop or with digital painting. And honestly, this would probably be faster if I just freehanded a bunch of little wigglies, but I wanted to show another method that you can do. Sometimes tracing things goes faster, and sometimes, this is going to need to be way in front of everything, sometimes it actually makes things take longer, and I think this is definitely going to be one of those cases. I don't know if I'm going to put more zoas or a rock down. I don't know what I'm going to do down there. Moody Roan said, it almost seems like, oh, I got that one. Gypsy Heart said, my fiber fog has me saying things like vibrating midget bird instead of hummingbird. I teach no one new things. Oh my gosh. I definitely, that fiber fog gets me sometimes where it's like, you randomly are like, what's the word for, like, can't remember the word for refrigerator. The cold thing, the cold in the food, the things you eat are in the cold thing. Like, yeah. Oh, I get it. Fibro fog is a real thing. Now this is also, actually, I may do this. I'm going to show you some, this is almost getting to the point where I'd be like, I was kind of cheating. But I want to show you some of the stuff you can do. And I think it's good for learning though, when you are struggling, if you're somebody who's like, I don't know what colors to use, I'm going to show you some of this stuff. I'm going to leave this image. I'll probably duplicate it. So it is like, I am one who sees nothing wrong with tracing your work, but there does hit a line where you're like, okay, you really are not doing any of the work. And I'm going to show you how to really not do any of the work. However, that also can help you in figuring out color. So I talk about color matching tools and the things like that. So we'll do a little bit of that on this one. It's good for learning when you get to the point, you know, you should hit a point where you're not, I don't think, depending on it to the point that I'm going to show you. I think it almost gets into paint by number at that point. But if you are struggling with color and figuring out what things are, this could be a helpful way to go. I almost feel like it's a dirty cheating way. So you guys know, I often say with, people will ask me to give you the line art for my paintings for my Patreon, and I won't do it. And the reason for that is not that I'm being lazy. It actually doesn't take me that long to do something like that. However, one, it's only going to be so accurate. Look at here. Look at how many lines am I? A little on the left, a little in. It's not going to be perfectly accurate. And which line do you trace on, inside or outside? You wouldn't know unless you traced it yourself. The other thing is, it's not teaching you to draw. If you trace it, you're learning, you're improving your actual freehanding skills. Tracing, my thing with tracing is it shouldn't be like the only thing you can do. You want, the goal there is it can either save time if you're like me and you can draw, or if you're learning to draw, it'll help you to improve your drawing skills because you're seeing things more accurately. So there's a definite benefit there. However, you can hit a point where you take that too far and you're no longer learning. You're just letting a program, you're letting something else do all the work for you. So in this case, what I'm going to show you is kind of that. Where I don't feel, I wouldn't do it all the time. I feel like it is good for a quick, like getting the hang of certain colors and certain shadows. But I do think if you did it all the time on all your work, you're not even doing the work at that point, like at all. You're not improving your skills when you copy everything completely. So it's one of those, do it a couple times and then kind of figure out your own colors a little bit better. But for learning, it is pretty handy. And especially when you're getting started with digital painting, if you're just like, okay, I just need to get the hang of how to use these tools, then that may be another reason that would be a valid, good reason to do it. Nick, Jesus, sounds like me on a good day. Yeah, that's a good way. Al Ruby, I'm butchering your name and I apologize, said, I like to trace the subject and draw the subject to learn. Exactly. And that I think is such a good way to go for improving your work. I had one student, V-Reg. She was my student for years back when I lived in California. She was amazing. She would actually have me, if I was not busy in that class, like if it was a small class, she would have me do her whole painting. Like as much as she could get me to do in that lesson, she would have me do it. But the reason it worked for her, she wasn't just having me do it, because I've had students that actually did just try to get me to do the painting and then they call it a day. But with her, she would go home and paint it herself. She progressed so fast doing that. Like it was incredible how well that worked for her. But you've got to figure out what works for you on, like, how do you learn the best? Oh my gosh, we've got all kinds of little wigglies in here. Yeah, if I were freehanding this, I would not include this much. Okay. So this is where we're going to start getting into almost, I feel like it's kind of dirty cheating. It feels weird. But anyway, let's go ahead and start. I need a new layer. Let's move this out of the way, but I'm going to actually make a duplicate of the anemone itself. Oh, where is the anemone? I don't know where I have this laid. Or layered. was him. This needs to be renamed. So I can pull that out. There's my line drawing. So that is, this is not where I think it gets into like, okay, you're crossing the line on it being a little too, you didn't do the work. What I think I'm going to do is start by making the entire base of the anemone just a dark purple color, like deep dark purple. So let's do another layer, anemone base layer, and I want the lines on top of it. Clark Feiner said, I encountered a goldenrod crab spider this year in the garden. Weird but quite interesting spider. We'll share a picture on MeWe. It's white with pink markings. Wow. I've never seen one before. I don't know what that is. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Save. Okay. So I need the anemone reference. I want to duplicate that. I'm going to move him. Get it. I never remember how to drag. Okay, yeah, that one. We're going to move you out of the way. I'm actually going to shrink it down a bit so that I can easily see different elements. There we go. Actually, that doesn't help me that much. Hold on. Go back where you were. I have a better idea. Actually, I don't even need you then. Trying to think which way I want to do that. I need to crop that. So you need to be cut here, here. Whoops. Oh, whatever. Okay, now you, nope, nerp, hit the right buttons. No, I don't want that. That's not what I wanted. I wanted you cut out. They didn't cut you out. What did I cut out then? Was I just not cutting the right thing? It's possible. I don't pay attention to what the heck I'm doing. Reference copy. Do the right thing. You're not doing the right thing. Oh. Okay, hold on. There's a way to do that better than what I just did. That wasn't the way, but this also lets me know where I want this cut, so it's whatever. I should have dragged it the rest of the way off, but we are getting, I'm doing a backwards way of doing this because I'm bad at Photoshop. Okay. I'm just going to stick him up there. That way when I zoom in, my reference photo and the size that I'm using, all that is right there. I can drag and drop him where I need. So one of the things that you can do, there's two ways that you can do this. One way, you could actually just paint over this as you're figuring out, and this I think is paint by number. This is kind of in teaching you color to an extent, but I do think there's a better way to do it. But one of the ways you can do, oh, I need to be on the right layer. Anemone base layer, there we go. One of the ways that you can do, and I've done this when I was figuring out digital painting just to get started, I can color match whatever area, like, okay, I'm going to paint this teal thing. And let's pick a paintbrush. I don't even have a brush chosen. We'll go with a soft area, go a little bit bigger. And I can start nope, that wasn't it. I can just kind of cover what that is, paint on top. Now this is essentially paint by number, but it can help you get an idea, a general idea of the colors you're using. And if we look at this little box that's up, this guy up here, you can see the color. You can see that I'm kind of a teal color by this bar. Oh, you can't see that bar. Hold on. Let me move this screen a little bit in because I would like you to see. There we go. You can see on this bar, I'm closer to green on the level of blue. So I'm, right in there. And then here, not super bright, not super light or dark, and you can see the color right there. It makes it easier to figure out what color you are using. However, it's a paint by number. I didn't paint that. I didn't make the choice on, okay, I'm looking at my reference photo and it's darker here, darker there. I think it gets to the point where you don't want to do that too much. You can do it initially just to start getting a feel for color. But what I would actually rather see somebody do I'm going to take my anemone base layer and I'm just going to paint it all black. I'm going to get that, or maybe a dark plum. So let's say, what's my darkest color in there? Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to do the entire thing that. Let's go ahead and shrink you down. And I'll show you what I mean. You'll see this in a moment, why I think there is a better way to do this too, by the way, to fill this in, but my lines are not all. In order for that to be as fast as I would want it to be, my lines would need to be a little bit cleaner and connected, and they're not, so whatever. Stop judging me. I'm judging me. I'm too busy doing it for you to judge me too. So I'm just going to start with this plum. This is really the darkest. Yeah, some of that might be a bit darker, but one of the darker values in there. Yeah, when you're first starting, if you find a way that you're like, okay, like what I just did, the paint by number thing, you can do that on a couple of things. Don't keep doing it. And it's the same thing, like people will look for, I have people ask me all the time, they want more beginner lessons. I have a handful of beginner, I need to do one for each medium. I do want to do that for Patreon. But don't stick with beginner stuff for more than a few times. Otherwise you get to where you're so dependent on the beginner stuff, you're not advancing. So let's say you found a intro to painting, somebody who does a lot of beginner stuff, a lot of like the stuff that you painted, those wine, or where you drink the paintings with the twist type crap. So, let's say you went to, those are fun, by the way. I'm saying crap, but they're actually really fun. So if you get a chance to do a paint night, they are fun, but you're not learning in those. Let's say you wanted to just keep doing stuff for beginners. You keep doing stuff for beginners, you will always be a beginner. If you want to get advanced, be advanced, put down the crutches or take off the training wheels and you have to jump into stuff. Now, tracing is a great way to improve your drawing skills. So I'm good with that. And for those of us who can draw, it just speeds things up for us. But, whoops, that's not what I needed. You do have a point where you need to take off the, you should, like with me, I need to be able to draw. So if I'm going to trace, I'm going to, well, not me, I learned to draw without tracing, but I've seen students, they improve their drawing skills faster if they traced something several times and then freehand. Trace several times, then freehand. And it improves your freehand skill because it's forcing you to notice details that you didn't otherwise notice. Let's say you are going to draw whatever it is. My brain just blanked out like the word of refrigerator. But let's say you were going to draw whatever. You draw it 10 times. By the 11th time, you're probably just making the same mistake over and over again. You trace it 10 times. By the 11th time, you've noticed details. You've gotten you understand the movement, how that, let's say it's a rose petal, how the rose petal bends. You have a general understanding. And so you're forcing your brain to see what's there and not what it thinks is there. And that's a big thing because let's use the rose as an example. Everyone's like, your brain's like, well, I know what a rose looks like. I don't even need that reference photo. I can draw a rose and it looks like you painted it with your feet, blindfolded. Doesn't look good. Trace it a bunch of times, then freehand it, and you will see so much improvement. I've got to do, this needs to be rock because those of us would not be growing on an anemone. That's a little weird how I've got that. Actually, the anemone's probably just going to grow right over those. I think I'll make some of the anemones stick out a little bit. That will make more sense. Anyway, so where was I rambling with it? Oh, the tracing thing. But you still want to freehand in order to improve your you want to be able to freehand. Now, that's kind of the thing here with the color where I was saying you could kind of paint over it and you're using your base thing and it's a paint by number. Great, do it once, do it twice, and then don't keep doing it. So that's why I'm always kind of hesitant to show certain things like that because I'm like, I feel it's a little dirty because I know there's going to be people who are like, this is how I'm forever going to do things. And in that, talk about limiting yourself. You want to be able to look at a color and get a general idea of what that is, not paint by number. Okay, so I'm going to start with this as a base. We're just going to go from there. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to leave, the reason that I left this anemone up on top, there we go, that guy there, is I want you to see how I can keep color matching, and you can do this in any of your art. So let's say you have a photograph like the bear that I did, the video from yesterday. Part of his shadow, I was having a hard time. I was oversaturating it, like it was too violet. You'll see that on parts of the video. I'm like, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look like a shadow. It needed to be gray. for my brain was not seeing that in gray until I used the thing. And I was like, okay, now I can go over on my palette. I can mix that color in my acrylics and then go on to my painting. So this is the same concept that I was using there. Have I used Adobe Fresco? I have not. I don't know what that is. Okay. So we had this center area. Now what I can also do, if I'm like, wait, was that the teal area? I can make that invisible and double check myself, but we're going to I wanted that covered, so we're not just depending on that. And I don't even need this to be exact, but I can go, okay, I need that teal color. So here's my teal. This is that the light one? There's the light one. So I'm going to do that as a base for the whole teal section. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit smaller on that. And I do want to drop down my opacity. Let's see, where did you go? You were in here. Actually, you need to be a lot smaller. So you're here. Kinda, wait. You're this one. You're here. Okay, you're a row. You come up just a bit. And then we've got a little bit in here. That looks weird. What are you? See, now I can Okay, yeah, I was wrong. That's a line I missed. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Undo. Let's just color match and cover that. I probably should have done this as a separate layer. It would have been easier because right now I can't really erase. Actually, I think I am going to do that. Let's go ahead and do a second anemone base layer. I can leave that one, but there we go. We'll work on that one. Have you tried Photoshop alternatives, specifically the ones made for art from the ground up? I have on my tablet. What are you? I am missing a line. I have on my tablet, but not, are you a shadow? No, you're that. You come here. Okay. Okay. I see what was happening. Like Art Rage is a great, oh wait, I was doing the whole color matching. I'm cheating. I'm not making my own colors right. I forgot. Cheat away, Lisa. Oh, don't cheat that much. Hit the right button. I've used Art Rage. There was another one I used to use too, but yeah, I've used those on my tablet, but on the computer, I definitely prefer Photoshop. Like definitely. It is amazing. Let's see, you come up a little bit. We've got a bump, and then you go up. No, you go up. I don't even know. Whatever. Let's just pick a couple spots. You could be green. Sure. You get to be teal, because I don't even know where I am on this at this point. You're that one. You're that one. See, I'm even lost in my own lines. What did I draw? I'm looking for a very specific. Let's pull that out. Oops. Oh, they're in there already. Okay. See? Kind of cheat. Oh, this one has a little bit of green. So that's kind of a handy thing where you're like, did I miss something? Okay, so there are my green areas. I'm going to get this darker, let's just get a dark something in here, maybe like rock or something in the background. Actually, let's go more blue. Get that in a couple little areas. Okay, next, we're just going to do one little area at a time. Just pick one. You. So I'm going to go with that middle color. I'm going to fill him in. Now I've got this set kind of opaque, so I've got to do a few more layers if I want it as dark as that is there. No, I'm on the wrong area. Let's undo that. This is on the lines. That is not where I want to be. That's going to be what I keep screwing up on, is figuring out which layer I'm supposed to be on right now. I've got so many going. And I could start flattening some of these layers out, but just in case I want to change anything, we can leave them. Actually, this would be, now we'll keep it how it is. So let's say the brighter orange tip. Let's go with the middle orange. Now I do need to watch. Is this too fuzzy? Yeah, I'm getting kind of fuzzy there. So I'm going to switch. When I come to, I'll clean that up then. I know how I'll clean it up. Never mind. I'm changing my mind. Ignore me. Gypsy Heart said, before the zombie virus, I tried to say the name because YouTube gets weird, but I don't know that works either. I just feel like it gets tagged. I had the idea of doing traveling version of those paint party nights and making it a Tipsy Gypsy paint party for small groups, but then everything changed. Maybe eventually that would be I love that Tipsy Gypsy. That would be so cute. If you had like a van, you know how they do the wraparound thing so it looked like a gypsy caravan thing? That would be so cute. Oh my gosh, you could make that adorable. Especially like the tablecloths, like there's so much you could do with that. I love that idea. I hope that ends up working out. But that would be really fun. See, and I can do this pretty quick going from one color to another. Which one was I even working on? I lost my spot. Okay, let's get that darker value in there. See how it really shows you what that is. Now, obviously, when you're doing acrylic painting, you're not doing that. But this helps you if you're taking the time to pay attention. You're not just color matching and moving on, but you're really looking at like, okay, I need this deeper color. It looks kind of gray to me, grayish black. But then you look at what color it really is, and you're like, oh, if I were to mix that in acrylics, that is red. It's kind of a cooler red. It doesn't have a lot of orange in it. It's like almost closer to purple on the color wheel if you're go in one direction or another. And it is a little bit of a grayish tone, so a little bit of black, a little bit of white to mute it, but that would be how I would mix that color. It isn't even the color that I initially would have thought it would be. But that's the thing. In order for that to really be useful, I think that you need to take the time and really look at what does that color come up. So what changed for that color? Well, it had a little bit less gray. And then, of course, we're going to go through, right now, this is all going to be super fuzzy until I come back through later on. But we get the idea. So I'm going to quickly go through that so you can see now. We just use that color for a lot of these. Oops, too thin. Let's go a little bit bigger. Gypsy Heart said, I did have an old van or an old conversion van and everything. Oh my gosh, that would be so cute. I hope that ends up being a thing because, oh my gosh. I can get this base now on a lot of these just to go a little bit more quickly. And so, like, let's say I was doing this as an acrylic or an oil painting, I wouldn't be sitting there trying to mix the orange while it was wet into that pink color. I would just take that pink color, do everything, and then go on top of that with orange. Gypsy Heart said, it's something I'm going to work towards eventually when things settle down for us after we move. I think that's such a good idea, especially because you actually know how to paint, girl. I'm like, that's my main complaint with painting with a twist is they don't hire people who know how to paint. And so one of the complaints, so I was working, are you even supposed to be there? Hold on. Yeah. I was working at a place. It was ran by, so you guys know Dave and Buster. Buster, his wife, Lacey, her project was her own, like, painting with a twist, but she wanted people who could actually paint and actually teach. So she was very picky about who she hired as teachers because she had gone to some of the painting with a twist thing and she thought they were cool. But what was happening is you'd go in and you left, a lot of the people were leaving kind of frustrated because they didn't leave with something that was very pretty. Like a lot of them were they didn't feel like, the main complaint a lot of people had is they felt like, at least in my area, and this may not be the case everywhere because I'm sure you do get some people who know how to paint at teaching those and walking people through. But the complaint was that the teachers weren't teaching or guiding them. I mean, one of the classes she went to, the teacher had her toddler there running around the classroom being obnoxious until the husband came and picked him up, and then the husband just stayed and drank with everybody. And it was like, this is the most unprofessional thing in the world. And so she wanted something that was more what people were looking for. So she used to go, she didn't tell people that's who she, who she was. She would just go and be like, okay, how can we make something better and, a better experience for people? And so that's why she hired those of us who really knew how to paint. And she, paying attention to what I'm doing here, so I don't have lines. She made those adjustments for us. But the problem was, at this point, everyone already had this preconceived idea of what those things were because of painting with a twist. And I want to say that those franchises, but a lot of the people who run them, they just, one class she was at, the teacher got wasted with everybody else, so she couldn't work. And you're like, this isn't, no. So yeah, it was really bad. And so the problem was with ours, people would just assume it was just like those. And they already had a bad experience at painting with a twist and then didn't want to come try out the good one. And so that was a definite issue. And then the building that the main one they were in had black mold. I had to quit because I got a fungal heart infection from the black mold. I got sick. Like I was going to die sick. From working there, and I had to quit, which sucks. I loved that job, but they wouldn't do anything about I don't know why they wouldn't do anything about the black mold, because you could see it. There was a leak at one point in the roof in the bathroom, and you could see it coming up, like the black mold was coming up under the floorboards. It was bad. So you knew it was all in the walls. And every time I worked there, I got sick. I was mostly there like twice a week, but every time I'd go, I'd get sick all over again. And so my doctor had been giving me these antifungal things to help clear that from my system, but it finally hit a point where that wasn't enough. And I couldn't go back there. Like I got sick. So initially it started as like just allergy symptoms. And then once it turned into a full blown heart infection, it's like, okay, that's not something you want to play with. That was scary. But anyway, moving on. So, but yeah, that's kind of why I talk a lot of crap about painting with a twist. Just I saw firsthand how they made it to where it was very hard, where somebody who did that sort of thing, painting with a twist left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because of the type of teachers they had teaching them, the way they were running the classes. The other thing that was kind of crazy with painting with a twist, they violate copyright laws like crazy. Their teachers were taking lessons from like YouTubers or whatever. They were taking lessons from stuff that is copyrighted. We took stuff that was like Van Gogh, stuff that's no longer under copyright, or our own teachers invented the painting because we were actual artists. We could do that. They couldn't. So they were stealing content. It was a disaster. But yeah. Thanks, Cats Art Pigs. Jim Zero says, my phone hates me tonight. Aubrey said, I was not that good, but I tried to make sure everyone was happy during mine. Were you teaching it? Is that, wait, I think I'm missing part of that conversation. Yeah, everyone who worked at the Let's Art Party one, everyone but me had a degree in art, but actually, it's funny. So I applied and I went to the interview. And I have, at the time I had like 15 years experience. No, it wouldn't have been that long. It would have been, how old was I at the time? I don't know, over 10 years experience in teaching. And they didn't hire me. I got a call back saying, the interview went well. One of the ladies who worked there, I could tell she didn't like me. But it was the assistant person, but I got a call saying, they didn't go with me, blah, 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 whatever. And I was frustrated because I knew it was the whole college degree thing. They wanted the college degree, and the main woman running it, you could tell something about my work made her bitter. But when she showed me hers, I was like, oh, that's why you're bitter. It was, and that's not something I normally would bash someone for, but I knew there was a weirdness going on there, like a competition, it was weird. So then I get a call back, I don't know, a month or so goes by, and I get a call asking if I would still be interested in the position. So they were working on only hiring. That was like one of their things. And I don't know why that wasn't on their application. At some point they had decided they only wanted people with a degree in art. Well, as it turns out, a degree in art doesn't mean a whole hell, it doesn't mean a lot. Most people who get a degree in art are good at art, but that's because they were already good at art. Not the degree didn't do it for them. So anyway, she had this teacher, and I guess the problem they were having is it didn't matter that people had a degree in art; they couldn't teach. So she came to one of my classes and was like, "Okay, yeah, that makes a difference." So, and the funny thing is, I was the only one who did not have a degree in art, yet I was the one. Any of their big events, I was always the one they had teaching the classes. So on my birthday one year, I have photos. Actually, it's my mom's icon thing when she pops up, which was from so long ago, like 2012. On my birthday, they had a big party there, and 40 people, like a class of 40 students, huge party, and they had to have me. I'm like, my parents are here from California visiting. It's my birthday. It didn't matter. They were like, you have to be here, because it was such a big party, and I could handle it, where the other teachers weren't as experienced with that. Good artists, but if you're not experienced with teaching, there's no amount of classes you can take that's going to make up that difference. So it was kind of funny, because I did not get hired initially because I didn't have a degree in art, and I ended up being, in the long run, the main, like, if they could have me for any big event, it was always, or, you know, if they were given a choice, it was always me. So that was this is how desperate they were to have me on some of these. I don't drive, so if it was on a day where my husband drive, they'd have to drive all the way. I was living in Frisco at the time. This was in Plano. They had to drive all the way to Frisco and pick me up, but they wanted me teaching that bad there. So yeah, teaching, degrees in art don't necessarily do a whole lot if you don't already, like, if you didn't have the experience teaching in this case. So it was kind of funny, though, because I did not get hired at first. I was so disappointed, and I was frustrated because I was like, I know it's because that lady didn't like me. She was weird as she's looking at my portfolio. And then they tried bragging like, oh, here's her work. I'm like, oh, I understand. Gypsy Heart said, yeah, I've had to contact 2 different paint places that kept stealing one of my paintings and using it. That's so ridiculous. Al Ruby, that I'm butchering the name of, I apologize, said, sort of, it was, oh, okay, that wasn't for me. I'm not paying attention. Eo said, I love your stories. You are so entertaining. Thanks. Cats Are Big said, just a reminder, save your, oh, thank you. It is on autosave, but I also don't always trust it. So I don't know. So, yeah. Yeah, I was so sad, though, when I had to stop working there, because I really did enjoy it. I mean, it worked out good, though, because at that point, I was deathly ill. And this is right at the beginning. So I had to quit. I want to say it was like March, April-ish, right around. No, when was it? I'm trying to think when that concert was, because we had a concert and I almost couldn't make it. I was in a band at the time. I play electric violin, and we had a show, and I almost couldn't make it because I was still so sick from the heart infection, but it was starting to let up. And it was one of those things, okay, I have to sit down. Like, when your heart is messed up, like anyone who's dealt with that stuff, you can't do a lot. But anyway, I was determined to go. I did get to go to the thing, but I had to sit a lot. So where was I going with that? Oh, that was right at the beginning of me really starting to do YouTube videos, like just a few months into it. And so the good thing with that is it allowed me, I mean, I was making decent money. I want to say it was like $20 an hour. So decent money. But you're only working 2 to 4. No, usually for me, I'd be there for 4 or 5 hours, I would say. So, you made like $100 in a night. So that was pretty cool, depending on how long you were there. I also had to wash wine glasses, though. I did not appreciate that, and clean other people's paintbrushes. But anyway, that was cool, but it was not going to buy me a house either. Like, I'm glad YouTube went where it did. So, well, YouTube by itself didn't. The Patreon videos did. So it ended up working out really well, because I wouldn't have quit the job. I liked it, and it was like decent money. Why would you give that up as an artist to have a more definite income? But it also was not going to, like, it wouldn't have taken me as far as YouTube. And this is definitely much, much better. So if it hadn't have been for me getting so sick, there's no way I would have quit. Actually, they're not around anymore anyway. That place, they did, which one is this? They did end up closing. I'm not sure why. I don't know what happened that made them decide to do that, but it wasn't that long after. For a while, they let me kind of work from home, where they just had me design the paintings and they'd come pick it up. I got to do that for a while, so that was cool. Let's see. Coffee. Oh, we're almost done with tonight. So we'll finish the Anemone next week. But you can really see, this is the thing that I think is so cool with using the eyedropper tool. And you don't have to be a digital artist. You can use any photo editor to kind of get an idea of what color you're working at. I mean, would you be bold enough? Look at these oranges. Look how, like, that color there. Or let's see, one of these more bright ones. That color is kind of scary. Would I be brave enough to do that on a piece if I couldn't look really quick and see it on my the reference photo? So this, I think, is a really good way to get started on learning your color. The thing you don't want to do, and I'm doing it myself just because I'm going through this quickly. One of the things that I'm doing in this, I think is important. It's important to do this for learning. You're not learning if you're just going, okay, match this color, that goes here and that goes here. That's not much better than a paint by number. What you want to be doing when you do that is look at it. Where is that? So this one is a warmer orange. It's got a little bit more yellow in it. We're all the way down here. And look at how vivid, how like there's a lot of vibrancy, a lot of color saturation there. We're not super into the grays over in this section or into black. That's a pretty pure color. Little bit of white in there, maybe a little, not much in this case, but use it to figure out your colors. But what I'm doing is I'm going through this really quick. I think one downside would be where you start just going through it so quick, you're not paying attention to the color. You're just trusting like, oh, I color matched it and that's what it is. In order to learn what you want to be paying attention to, where is it? Like here, this color. That, if I was going to mix that, let's say in acrylics, I would probably go with, I would say raw sienna, a little bit of deep yellow, medium hue, and not much white. A little bit of white, not much. Possibly a touch of red. I don't think I would need that though. But yeah, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. But try to figure out, okay, what color is that? What would I use to mix that? But pay attention to what it is. Don't like, where is that on your little color thing? It's not just touch, match, fill it in, match. That's just paint by number. That's not teaching you. In order for this to work, you have got to pay attention to what that color actually, like what is the color up there? And if you're doing that, then it's super useful. If you're not doing that, it's a paint by number. So you can make the same actions, but if you're not paying attention to the right thing, one is a paint by number, one is one of the best learning tools you will find. But even though you're doing the same action, what are you paying attention to? And that is so important in your work. If you're doing it for a digital painting, it's very easy to, I don't want to say cheat, but you're not learning either. So paying attention though, if you're paying attention to this box up here, where is that color landing? That is where you're learning. Quickly color matching, like, okay, that color there, and I'll just go ahead and fill that in. That's not even that thing. Where was I? Oh, this one. I'll just go ahead and fill that in. You're not really paying, you're seeing the color, but you're not paying attention to where it is up here. Paying attention to that, I think, is where you're really going to learn. You're really going to improve your color matching skills as an artist. Whether that be for, you can use this if you're a colored pencil artist. You can use this to figure out what color, because look at what happens. And what I do, actually, let's do this really quick. What I do, let's say I'm working on a colored pencil piece and I'm having a hard time, like, which colored pencil should I use for that? Make a new project. Yeah, that'll work. Got my little box. Let's do a layer fill. Solid color. Whatever that solid color is. When you have your solid color, now you're seeing it large, like you're seeing big. Now I can easily look at my colored pencils. I can hold my colored pencil up to the screen and go, is that close to that? There we go. That pencil would match that. It's the easiest way you can color match your colored pencils. With paint, we've obviously got to do a little bit more mixing. And on paint, I would look at that and go, okay, it's kind of a reddish orange. It's closer to yellow. It's not the cooler, closer to purple, like up here. Here, we're more of an orangey red. And it's got a little bit of black in there. It doesn't have a lot of white, because over here we get into the grays and the whites. Right in here, it's just that red with a little bit of black. It's going to give me that almost brick red color. And you can do that constantly. Like, okay, what about this color? Okay, I know there's an orange glaze that would be super close to that I have that would work with Faber-Castell polychromos. You can do this to see what that color that you're just not quite capturing or you're having a hard time with. You can do this to figure out those colors, and it works so well in any medium. But what I do like to do, I'm gonna hit OK. I like to keep that. So as I'm painting, I may have this open with Photoshop. I have Photoshop on the laptop next to my easel. So there are occasionally times, right? As long as I've been painting, I still sometimes have trouble. And all I have to do, I now take that layer, click on that, and like, okay, what color is this? What color is this? What color does that look like? This one, I didn't realize how gray that was. Like, we're right about in the middle. I need black and white. So let's say I'm going to mix that color. I'm going to mix that with black and white. I'm going to make my gray tone first, and then I'm going to tint that color, slowly add in the color that I need. In this case, it would be phthalo blue and phthalo green is how I would get that color. And it's a grayish blue. You might, when you first looked at it, think, oh, just add, it's a blue tint, add blue, but you didn't have enough black and white to give it that grayish tone, which was needed here. So it's a really good learning tool if you are paying attention. So let's say in this case, You're just working, I don't need that now. You're just working in Photoshop. That's the big thing. Don't do like what I was showing you where you're just color match paint, color match paint. You have to look at that little box. Look at what color did you just mix? What color? That's what's going to teach you. If you ignore that little box, you're just color match paint, you're paint by number. You're not learning. That's not really teaching you. You're probably learning some, but not as much as if you were really taking the time. What color is that in that little box? Anyway, we are 9:59, so we are good. Let's see. Susan said, I use adult coloring books to experiment with color, saturation, contrast. I don't worry about drawing first. That's a great way to go. Seven said, I can't talk. Seven says, time has flown by tonight. Great stream. Thank you. Make sure to check out Nick and Joseph, our moderators. Their channel is in the video description. They keep away spam and help minors who are trying to out themselves as being minors in the group. Don't do that. Be safe. They help keep that from happening, but they've got art channels here on YouTube. Joseph has been live streaming consistently, like really consistently every Monday. It's usually our same group of people hang out and chat during a stream. We need to encourage him to tell us some stories. He probably has interesting stuff. We just need to remind him we want to hear stories. And yeah, I think that is good. Painting fur on Friday. I'm not painting fur on Friday. Did I paint something wrong? Friday is the octopus. I may have labeled something wrong. Friday should be an octopus. Speaking of Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time, we're working on the octopus in colored pencil. And yeah, I think that's it. And now I need to check my labels or my descriptions because it sounds like I've got something described not quite right and something, I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Do I have any other fun? Oh, here, let's zoom this out so we can kind of see where we're at. I don't need... Where is my extra anemone that I don't need the image of as we're working on this? Where are you? Anemone, reference copy. Let's go by that. We'll go ahead and shrink this so we can see where we're going with that tonight. So yeah, we'll get that anemone done. We'll end up throwing a clownfish in. Now, I would be smarter to paint the clownfish first because I'll end up covering some of the anemone with the clown, but whatever. It's what we're going with. Yeah. I think no, Joseph, I think that's not true. You told us an interesting story about how you got started in art that I didn't know, and I thought that was really interesting. You've got interesting stories. You're just not aware they're interesting. My stories aren't interesting, but for some reason people want to listen to them. I don't know why. I really don't. I think I'm boring. Actually, I entertain the crap out of myself. I think I'm hilarious. I just haven't convinced everyone else of that. I think Stephen did. Stephen commented earlier. I think I've got him convinced. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. I will see you on Friday at 1 p.m. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to do a leafy sea dragon in watercolor this week. Super excited about that lesson. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye. I lost my buttons. Where are my buttons? There are my buttons. Bye again.